Hi there everybody, welcome back. So today I want to share a story with you that comes to us back from the year 2000. It's one of my own stories and it's just before, in fact during the Millennium celebrations. And when I think about what happened then, it still makes my stomach clench. You'll probably see why. It's called The Night I Got Lost in Soweto and was saved by a footballer. Yeah, I know. It's a crazy title, but stick with it. So there we were, my then partner B and I, doing the South African thing. Spent weeks on the garden route. We'd done the wine farms. We even did a safari. We'd saved up for ages for this. And we did the postcard stuff, everything. But you know, when we reached Johannesburg, I had this kind of nagging feeling that we were missing something real about South Africa, not the tourism thing. I'd read about the townships, these massive settlements, sprawling settlements that I read tell the true story of South Africa's history, a big part that's missing. And Soweto especially, home to over 1 million people, well over 1 million people, including Nelson Mandela during the struggle years. I was drawn to this. We should go there, I told B. See what it's actually like. I don't know what I expected. Looking back, I'm not sure if it was curiosity or just tourist arrogance. You know? Possibly a bit of both, actually. So we hired a local guide and we headed out late afternoon, both a bit excited and a bit nervous. At first, the outskirts looked almost suburban, and no, actually suburban. Double-storey houses, electric fencing, even some luxury cars. That was the Soweto from the tourism brochures. Yeah, there was much more. Because as we went deeper, everything changed. Paved roads became dirt tracks. Houses shrank and pressed together. Power lines looked dangerously chaotic, hanging down. And if you touched them, you'd be electrocuted. And then suddenly, the power lines and the power just disappeared. Children were playing with footballs made from plastic bags and string. The sun was getting low when I realized something that made my blood run cold. Our guide was gone, just vanished. I have no idea where he went. We were completely alone as darkness began to fall over Soweto. This was not the plan. The darkness came fast, really fast. Fires burned in metal drums, casting shifting shadows across the narrow paths. The air filled with smoke and the smell of cooking meat. Drums pounded rhythmically somewhere in the distance. We were really alone, and everywhere, eyes were watching us. We stood out like beacons. Our clothes, our skin colour, our obvious foreignness in a place where we clearly did not belong. We tried retracing our steps, but somehow we kept getting deeper and deeper into the maze of corrugated shacks that were everywhere now. There was no street lights, no power, no landmarks I could recognize. And we had no idea which direction led out. B grabbed my hand. Her grip was really tight, scared, really scared. I was trying to project confidence. I absolutely did not feel, I can tell you. The truth is, we were both terrified. And that is when I saw him. A small boy, maybe 10 years old, emerging from one of the shacks. He was wearing a bright yellow Brazil football jersey. Ronaldo, the original Ronaldo's number 9, blazed across his chest. In that moment of genuine fear, something familiar was there in this alien landscape. Nice shirt, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Ronaldo fan? His little face lit up instantly. Yes, Ronaldo is the best. Who is your team? And just like that, we were talking football. I told him it was Arsenal, and he launched into an excited rundown of players he knew. Suddenly, even amongst the fear, the tension eased. We weren't lost foreigners and a township kid anymore. It felt like, well, we were just football fans having a chat. I know that's silly, but it's how it felt. He invited us inside his home, a single room with corrugated steel walls, no sign of mother or father. There was a tiny black and white TV with wires that looked like they'd been spliced directly into a nearby cable. Dangerous, but kind of weirdly miraculous. On that flickering screen was a Premier League football match, here in the heart of Soweto. This boy was connected to the same footballing world that I was. The one that I knew back home. He told us about life here, how local teams from different parts of Soweto played each other at football. The winners keeping food donations from supporters. Football wasn't just entertainment here or a money thing like back at home. It was really survival. He made that clear. His knowledge of football was incredible, all gleaned from that tiny TV and magazines probably passed around for years. He knew more about Arsenal's midfield than half the fans at Highbury in the old stadium. Then, trying to sound casual, I mentioned we were a little bit lost. The words felt inadequate. Certainly inadequate for how genuinely frightened we'd been just minutes before. Without hesitation, he said, "I will show you the way out." This child we just met, living in conditions I could barely comprehend, simply decided to help two strangers. No questions asked. No payment expected. He guided us through the maze of Soweto, chatting about football the whole way. Arsenal's chances that season, whether Thierry Henry would stay. Right through the narrow paths between countless shacks, he knew every turn, every shortcut. This place had felt so threatening and alien to us. It was simply his neighbourhood. Finally, we reached the outskirts where street lights glowed. Taxis waited. We sighed with relief. There was the familiar sounds of traffic and civilization, and I turned to thank him properly. Maybe offer some money, although it kind of felt a bit inadequate, but that's all I had then, that and thanks. But he was gone. Gone. Disappeared back into the night as quickly as he'd appeared. B looked at me with a mixture of relief and amazement. "You boys and your football," she said. "I'll always remember that." But it was more than that, and we both knew it. A 10-year-old boy with a Brazil shirt had probably saved us that night. I don't think I'm exaggerating. Not through any grand gesture, but through simple human kindness when we needed it most. I still think about him sometimes, and doing this story again reminded me, I wonder if he's still there, still watching football on that dangerous little TV, still being generous to strangers who probably don't deserve it. If by some chance he's out there and he sees this, thank you. You showed us something about humanity that we'll never forget. And yes, football really is universal, even when you're scared and lost and completely out of your depth in a place you don't understand and maybe don't belong. Thank you. Thanks for joining me for another story that just needed telling. If you enjoy this tale, well, there are plenty more where that came from. From courtroom battles with music legends to life lessons learned at 35,000 feet. Each story here will change how you see the world, just a little bit maybe. Hit subscribe to catch the next story, because sometimes the best tales find you when you least expect them.